Welcome back to the secret channel. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. Remember, if you are going to share it secretly. You can do it like text message, WhatsApp, Snapchat, and other cool things like that. But whatever you do, don't share it publicly anywhere. Remember, likes, comments, and subscribing helps the channel a lot to privately get shared. We're going to try and game the YouTube algorithm rather than sort of begging it, even though we have begged it a bit with Rory because Rory's channel massively helped us out. But then we helped Rory's channel out a little bit. So, vice versa, it goes that way. Anyway, there have been a lot of good football opinions expressed on this channel, not least by the likes of Rory and Boovie. But we also enjoyed some of the things and feedback from different videos that you guys have given. So this isn't one of those videos where you go, great video, Laurence, do more of these. These are like real football opinions we can kind of get our teeth into. Let me know whether you guys agree or not. Comment your own football opinion, what you'd love to see us do more of. It's not me saying come up with an idea for me. It's me saying, I'm sure there are some interesting subjects that you'd like to hear about. Let me know and I can talk about it. First comment here is from Dandy Aber. Fernandinho is one of the greatest defensive midfielders in the history of the Premier League. Oh, in the history of the Premier League? Ha 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 ha. I mean, Fernandinho has been a critical part of this Man City team. When you take any defensive midfielder out of any Pep team, I think it massively changes it. But the reason Pep loves him so much and the reason he's been around even to this age is because he is so good. And let's face it, like silverware sort of validates a lot of that because without him in the team, I think they were a lot more unstable. The other side of that is that now they've got Rodri, who is by far a great successor to Fernandinho. We can see how good he was. We can see why they needed such a good player to be that successor to him. Man City are one of the greatest teams in Premier League history. So surely every one of those starting 11, which by the way, consistently was Fernandinho, deserves a shout in there. And I think he is one of the greatest defensive midfielders. Statistically, even if just to the eye test, I feel like the eye test is so key with a central defensive midfielder. You see them run a game, and he's done that so often. I get it, he's been beaten quite a few times, but I can't think of a defensive midfielder that hasn't really. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. This might be my first comment ever, actually. I think it was from Nathan Brand. He says, wonderful video. Thanks, Nathan, means a lot. That was 8 days ago, how many days ago? Yeah, like 10 days ago now. Let's flick through and find out. Here we go. This is a good one about Chelsea, actually. Will Chelsea fire Tuchel if he doesn't win Champions League or FA Cup? I think it would be crazy to do that. And the fact is, they might not still have the same owners by the time that Tuchel doesn't win the Champions League or doesn't win the FA Cup. So even if he did lose one of those or both, which, by the way, is perfectly possible considering the strength of the other teams in those competitions, are we really going to see Tuchel fired, especially in a period of transition? Surely you want to keep some form of consistency. Unless a billionaire comes in and goes, hey, we've got a whole other idea here, and Tuchel just doesn't fit this. What Roman Abramovich was doing wrong was blah, blah, blah. What Roman Abramovich was doing wrong was insert, wry observation here. And fans go, oh my goodness, yeah, let's sack him and bring in Ten Hag or whoever. That's one of the only ways I see him being sacked now. I would actually see the other way if an owner came in and went, look, Tuchel did a great job with the Champions League. If anything, without Roman wielding some of this power, it could be the other way. Having said that, maybe the Chelsea board, maybe the people who are on the board, who, by the way, were also close with Roman, so maybe they're gone as well, might go, this is a perfect time for us to strike. We can get whoever we want. And then they get whoever they want. And then we're in real trouble in the Premier League. Not that I don't know how much they're going to spend, but surely it can't be that much if it's Chelsea. Will they continue with their spending power if they can't leverage it against borrowing? It's a really unsure future for Chelsea right now. I would hate and love to be a Chelsea fan all at the same time. And I mean that in the worst and the best way. Let me know in the comments below. Brendan Barron says, I would love to top four finish this season, but if not, I won't be perturbed. Look what Arteta has done in 3 seasons. Think about what he's going to do in the next 3. This came from that Arsenal video that I really thought, everyone will already have heard this. But it turns out that people hate me on the kickoff for not defending Arsenal. And I didn't know that. It turns out I don't know what many people online think of me, clearly. So it was great to get loads of Arsenal feedback and hear that actually my read on Arsenal, which sometimes you don't really get a 10-minute monologue on the show, funnily enough, meant that I was kind of, at least trying to be positive about their team and trying to read things a little bit more. It was a nice bit of research to do and then kind of relay to you guys. And my feelings have always been pretty good on Arteta. Our read on him, I feel, is relatively good. So I'm interested to see where he goes from here. Like I said, I think with more investment and the culture he's building there's something for players to buy into, and that feels very Kloppish. It feels very Pep-ish. We kind of undermined some of his early unsure footing, but sure, we explained that in that video. That's because Arsenal weren't in a good space. So hey, who knows? I'll be interested to see where they go, but just give him time. I think even he's earned 2 more seasons after this, considering where he's competing now, considering he's turning over certain people who weren't what he wanted and what Arsenal wanted. Now, this is a long one here. It comes from Daniel Blake, and I think this was from below a Conte video. Conte is one of my many football obsessions. I'll talk about him as much as I can, so, thanks for putting up with that. Laurence, please hear me out here. I'm hearing you. It was never a manager nor a player that's caused the illness at Spurs. I love when people call football things illnesses. It sort of makes me feel like a doctor diagnosing stuff, but also makes me feel they're very hyperbolic people in a good way. It is football after all, it's entertainment. It's always been Levy and Enic. They need to be gone ASAP. Why? I like how he's sort of setting up a bit of a premise for his own comment here. Let's look at the last 4 managers. Okay, I'm guessing I'm Poch first. Yeah. None of the backing from the chairman there. He then goes on to obviously compete for the Champions League. He was a great signing from Southampton, but he went to the Champions League final with no funds. Now, saying he had no funds is not necessarily true. Did he deserve to be sacked next season though? No, but it felt like Levy sort of bought in some of that cauldron that had been made at the club. He was sort of buying into their own hype. I didn't really like that at the time, and I would love to see what his thinking was behind sacking Poch. Maybe he felt they'd taken him as far as he could, and he'd taken them as far as they could. Then Jose obviously came in, was a big part of that documentary. He said, Jose, regardless of how terrible it was as a Spurs fan to watch his parking the bus tactics that goes against everything we were founded on, he gets us a final against City. Yeah, you're sort of putting in a League Cup final there. Was that League Cup or FA Cup? A moment Jose lives for. And what do? We sack him. Yeah, but the rest of the reason he got you there was because of all the pressure he put on. So I get it. It's just, again, maybe there's not this kind of... Maybe Levy's not being a good owner in the sense he's not being strong enough as an owner. Maybe Levy does need to be a stronger owner. I'll give you that. Nuno, I just felt bad for. Was never the one we wanted, and he was used as a puppet by Levy. Yeah, I think Nuno never got a fair crack of the whip, regardless of his Jose ball, but even worse. I don't blame Nuno at all. And finally, Conte, go on a huge winning streak, proves to Levy that he should be backed. In January, what happens? We're an inch away from signing Adama, who then goes to Barca. I wouldn't hold that against him. Like, Adama Traore is clearly going to get well sold, fed and well moneyed at Barca. Give £1, $1 more. Now look at him at Barca. Luis Diaz, an inch away from signing. Yeah, but that inch was really a mile. Liverpool were always going to be front runners for him, I feel. We've been looking at him for quite some time, and they just sort of put it back. Of course he's going to go to a team that are in the Champions League. Of course he's going to go to a team that are competing for the Premier League. In a few seasons' time, if Conte does his job, then you'll be in for the likes of Luis Diaz, and believe me, there'll be other Luis Diaz's, for you guys at least. Not that he's not world-class and brilliant. I'm not being dismissive of him. Weren't ambitious enough with the offer. Weren't fast and swift enough. Good use of the word swift. And what's happened? He goes to Liverpool. Yeah, I get it. Bottom line is this. Levy has never backed a manager. He's toxic to this club, and he's the main reason we are in this position we are in. Our Spurs fans are genuinely depressed because of this club. Wow. Genuinely depressed. Lord knows how Kane, Son, Hugo, and others have put up with this for so long. Fans deserve better. Enough is enough. Hierarchy has to go. We do not deserve this, and I live in America. Wow. Depression from a distance is even worse sometimes because you've got them getting up in the middle of the night. Fans deserve better. Enough is enough. Yeah, I get it. Laurence, this is my passionate cry for help. I should buy Spurs. And I'm not sure the Avengers themselves could save us. To dare is to do. That's long gone. So it's kind of horrible to hear fans talking about their own club in this way. It's kind of sad in that sense. But I got to admit, I kind of agree. I also think, though, sometimes those managers have to stand on their own 2 feet. I'd be interested to know whether sometimes their own 2 feet are strong enough. Having said that, Conte's definitely got 2 strong feet. So I personally think they should just keep Conte. I think Conte is a much better choice than Nuno. I also think he's probably a better choice than Jose, if I'm honest. If you can't get Poch back, which I don't think is going to happen, Conte is the guy. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. It kind of goes without saying. My question is this, Laurence, says Lil Jackie. What happens when Diaz, Jota, Firmino, Mane and Salah are all fit? We haven't seen that yet. And although I love the depth and options it brings, my concern is that Firmino and Mane, for example, will be rotated much more than what they are used to in the past. Now, I get that. He says, I remember a couple of times that Mane got frustrated for being subbed. Yeah, I understand this. Mane... I'm worried that it will disrupt the dressing room and cause Mane and Firmino to move on. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe they are looking to move this team into the next generation. Mane has had an all-time historic stat season for Liverpool, and I do think he is an excellent player for Liverpool. I think there are times where he goes completely underestimated. But there's got to be a point of transition here. I'll be interested to see what happens with that. I personally think we can rotate all five. We've got like a game every 3 days for the next 8 games and for the next month, just over 4 or 5 weeks. So there's a lot of games that come thick and fast. If you're not in the Premier League, you're in the Champions League. If you're not in the Champions League, you're in the Premier League. If you're not playing for a full 90, you're playing for 30, then 60. This is about game management. And I imagine that's been expressed to the players. I would imagine it's not Mane getting frustrated at being subbed, though if it is, correct me. It's more that he's frustrated with his own performance and maybe things needing to be changed. These guys are high-level athletes, and I think when you're a high-level athlete, there's only really one outcome you want, and that's success. If you're lifting something at the end of the season, that's great. And that's how you keep people invested. And for me, rotation does that. A lot of people reading into Mane, obviously being dressed and not taking part in celebrations, but there was a lot of alcohol in that room. He's obviously Muslim. And then, there's a lot of celebrations going on while he was trying to pray. So there's 2 different aspects there. And I think a lot of people are trying to have smoke where there is no fire, and maybe fire before they've even seen any smoke. Oh, he's good with the analogies. I like Klopp's open-mindedness, says Jimmy, to try new things, to seek the smallest advantages, which when you have City as the team to beat become almost a necessity. Not that it is something new for him. He did similar things at Dortmund when trying to catch Bayern. Footballnot, for example. Nor is this exclusive to him. Lots of managers try these things to varying degrees. Yeah, it's like sort of, managers' weekends away and stuff. Look at Hasenhüttl's mini energy recharge breaks in the second half. Yeah, that's not necessarily exclusive to him, though. It is very smart. I think personally, maybe Premier League players, especially the pace they're playing at and the volume they're playing at, should be allowed a rest at some point. Maybe even just a water break, especially when it gets hot. We do that in the World Cup. Do it in our Premier League. Liverpool's work with Neuro 11 was obviously paid off. Has obviously paid off. I'm a terrible reader. They, brackets Neuro 11, work on accuracy training for set pieces, etc. And this season in the Premier League, Liverpool have scored the most set pieces / goals. There's an article on it by The Guardian on it. I do read The Guardian, so I'm surprised I didn't read that. It's also not much of a leap to think that the accuracy training has had a hand in Liverpool's offside trap being a lot more successful. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think there's, accuracy all around the club's fantastic. A lot more successful than anyone else's this season. There's an Opta-Stat doing the rounds on it. Wow, you really are great at citing. Another comment mentioned Sir Clive Woodward. And you could throw Sir Dave Brailsford into that hat too. Good. Are we all in a hat now? I'll wear a hat for this. As key proponents of micro improvements, I get that. It's easier to make 10 1% improvements than 10% improvement. Never has anything been truer, especially with a channel like this. In terms of personnel, I think if we do end up winning another trophy this season, especially if it's PL or Champions League, then I think some players might see that as a good moment to move on, i.e. Mane, Firmino, just like Thiago did at Bayern. Really good point. And I think if you're going to leave on a good note. These guys are going to be shrouded in nostalgia throughout the rest of their time in football. So, they're great players. I have no problem with anyone moving on. I will miss them. But ultimately, if they are allowed to move on, I think Liverpool have got a plan and we've got the right stats and the right way to back that up. So, I'd be interested to see if we can. Obviously, it's a time full of trepidation. Be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, there is also a way of undermining all that. And I'd hate to see a player go and then us miss them terribly. But if we were to bring, like he says, like someone like Nkunku in here, I do think it would be time for the likes of Keita and Chamberlain to move on. Yeah, Chamberlain actually had a pretty good game, I thought, the other day. Although he does some very frustrating things, but statistically he does a lot of great stuff. Every now and again he does these weird shots, but every now and again he drives forward and like the whole team seems to feed off it. I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Let me know. Great comment, by the way. Really enjoyed it. They need, ideally, I think we want a midfielder who can cover the pitch, be able to progress play without needing to be a magician, and maybe more importantly, have a discipline to be able to fill in the role. Fabinho, listen, I see you looking at a guy at Bayern. He's young. Steven Gerrard's his idol. Do I need to say nothing more? Although there is a suggestion down here, if Nico Williams goes, then I think we could need another body at right back. Completely agree, though. James Milner, wow, what an understudy. Hope he signs a new contract with the club. Love him. Great guy. Something like Joachim Mailer, I want to say, could be a good choice as he can play both sides and given his attributes. Yeah, by the way, Tsimikas, absolutely fantastic as well. Really enjoyed looking at Minamino's stats as well in the last few days. People have broken that down. He says, keep up the great work. Thank you. Ranić is who pivoted Red Bull's strategy. This is from Aidan. To signing players on their first or second contract. When he took over at sporting director, they had one of the oldest teams in the division. Right. Maybe you're right about questioning how involved he was with the player recruitment. I am. But he's certainly set the strategy principles that have served them well. Good point. The profile of player to recruit and the transitional high-energy football that he considered to be Red Bull's brand. I love how when we call football brand, but you know, you're completely right to put it in here. When you see how poor United's recruitment was under Solskjaer, yeah. Signing Maguire with the ambition of playing a high line, and signing Aaron Wan-Bissaka with the intent of being a possession side, etc. It's obvious that Manchester United could really benefit from someone like him. Absolutely, setting out a vision for the next 10 years. He was the first manager in Germany to emphasise the club having a vertical integration between their senior and junior players. Brilliant piece of thinking. Having a defined style of play and that is consistent at all levels. I think that was sort of present before, but maybe in Germany we understand that. I've got to admit, this is a great comment. I'm really enjoying the insight. I'm going to say all of this on the kickoff. Man United haven't had an identity over these past years. That's what Ralph is there to provide. Completely agree. I think I kind of covered that a bit in my video anyway. The next manager should show us the direction, i.e. possession football, transition football. The key moment in City's recent development became before Guardiola, when they raided Barcelona of their executives and youth coaches. Absolutely. Completely agree. They set the groundwork, and sometimes it's about setting that groundwork. Ideally, you do the groundwork whilst you're preparing bricks to go on top, but maybe sometimes it's all about, doing that one at a time, especially if you've got massive foundations to build like there. Ralph's real impact will be determined by the next steps United take in terms of their next manager, and also whether they back Ralph. Of course, I do think he's got a Langer through, and there's some good things like that. So maybe we're already seeing the seeds, the shoots of something special. Maybe Man United could have done with paying more attention to Van Gaal's constant talking about having a philosophy 6 or 7 years ago. Absolutely agree. If they had, would United be in a better place today? Probably not, because they probably still have Ralf Rangnick. But I see what your point is there. Have I missed a comment here? I don't think I have, which means that I've probably finished my video. Thank you. Another wonderful video, as Nathan Brand said. Thanks a lot for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry it was a bit of a longer video. Maybe you enjoy that. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you want something that's bite-sized. Let me know. Do you want to see more discussion stuff? Do you want to see some stuff where we do a bit of back and forth tete-a-tete? Please do keep it about the channel. But if you are going to share it with people you think are going to care and be good in the community. Don't need any of those comments of people coming in and going, you don't know what you're talking about football. Get enough of that on the kickoff. See you guys in the next video. Really appreciate you watching and sharing privately. Like, comment, subscribe. That really helps me. And if you do see my video, don't forget to click it because it helps the stats. See you guys later. Much love. Bye.